Hi, good evening, everyone. It's another Sunday, and it's my pleasure to be here. I'm actually so blessed to have this opportunity because I'm at work, and how do I put it? The opportunity to be on, should I say, on camera at this point is priceless, and I'm going to try and use the time very well. So this evening, I'm going to be answering, or should I say, discussing a particular topic that I thought I would leave until later. But while on a thread this evening, I realized that, okay, I think we need to talk about this today. Mm, and the topic is why I am a Christian feminist. Like, there have actually been a lot of comments, or should I say, commentary about how Christian feminism is demonic. I've had people verbally abuse me and tell me, oh, it's a demonic thing that you're propagating, it's against the Bible, and all sorts of stuff. And even close people, like close family people, often disagree about my choice to be a Christian feminist. However, I think I got to a point where, should I say, some of the things that were being practiced where I live in Nigeria, that is, were not aligning with what I believe God to be about. And it was more or less like I was struggling, really struggling to understand why these things were happening. And I'm going to share something very soon. Like, it's just from should I say, a Facebook thread that I saw this today. And that was what actually prompted my deciding to change what we're going to discuss this evening. Someone had posted that the more she looked at some of the paradigms that were being practiced in church, the more she realized that, okay, the Bible was flawed and she was not going to be able to, continue or something like that. Like, she left the church 10 years ago. And I had to reply. So I'm going to post the comments and my own response. My own response is actually the first thing uh, you would see when I put it on now. So let me just do that and present it on screen with me. So I'm adding it to the stream now. Like, okay, let me see. It should come up soon. So this was all right. Okay. It just removes immediately. I clicked on it. So this is it's not variables. Let me make it bigger. So this is the comment actually. The person was saying that I think, oh no, that's not the slide. Let me change the slide. The person was saying that we really must change some deeply held paradigms, and that you're right, our culture makes it difficult to challenge authority or those deeply held beliefs. I challenged mine 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, and the result was me separating from the church. The more I learn about the history of Christianity, the less inclined I am to believe it's the only truth. The more I read the Bible, the more flaws I find in modern day Christianity and the whole church culture. And so I had to respond because actually what she talked about is the facts. Like, I got to the point where I experienced this as a Christian too. I realized that some of the things that were being practiced were just not aligning with what I understand to be maybe the practice of a just God. And so I responded, I said, my journey is similar to yours, but I took a different direction. The more I challenged the paradigms, the more I realized some of them were not based on the biblical truth. And then it made me explore the subject of Christian feminism. And I'm looking forward to publishing my book on the subject in December. I did not veer away from the faith, and I do not see the flaws you allude to. What I see instead is flawed humanity and a clear thread of God's love and pattern through it all. So, yes, when we talk about flaws in the scriptures, when we talk about maybe things that look like they are not, the pattern we would expect from a just God, we actually have to realize one thing, that those things we are talking about may actually not be what God designed them to be. It may be that, okay, human beings are making the mistakes, and God, in his own sovereignty, is taking time to make his own perfect will work out despite our own human flaws. Because, yes, when I read through the scriptures, I see that there are a lot of human errors. Human errors. Even David, that was reported to be a man after God's heart, did quite a number of terrible things. We saw that he was still the same person that was involved in adultery with, Bathsheba, and then killed her husband. But somehow, God was able to work his righteousness through it all, even though David did get punished for some of those terrible things that he did. So, why am I a Christian feminist? When I was growing up, I saw quite a number of things that bothered me about married Christian women. Like, not one, not two, not three that I saw that they were just not, should I say, functioning at their maximum capacity, or they were not functioning at their best. Like, it was more or less like once they got married, it was to become submissive to a man who could dictate whatever he wanted with their lives. And often it looks like some of these men were tyrants, they were bosses that didn't care about the welfare of the women. So it was more or less like after some of these people got married, you just see them practically fading out from whatever thing they were doing before. They could still continue working in a job, but more or less like, just the barest minimum of productivity was what they could achieve. And that bothered me a lot. And I also saw some examples of men who had no self-control, who would engage in adultery and then turn around to blame it on the wife, saying maybe the wife was not doing something or the other, or she was the one that chased them out or something, some funny excuses that kind of alarmed me. At a point, I told my parents that I wasn't going to get married because I felt, how can all these sad stories about women be happening in the church? And I saw quite a number of them. However, as I grew, I realized that these sad stories were not what the Bible advocates. When we read through the scriptures, realize that what God actually did advocate, the examples of women we found in the scriptures were women who were vibrant, women like the virtuous women were, they had businesses, they were productive, they didn't have any tyrant husband dictating to them that they should resign their jobs or not work or some other funny thing. And there were also women like, even Anna, that was passing through challenges. She had a husband that the Bible says loved her and was always, calming her down and trying to let her understand that, am I not more than 10 sons to you? But what do we have today? The reality is that quite a number of Christian men, so to say, whenever there is a challenge such as infertility or whatever, are quick to look for solutions outside of, what they and the wife should be doing together. And then you find some men who say, okay, maybe because they're looking for a male child, they had a lesson with another woman, got a male child outside the house, and they are in the church. In fact, there are stories of men like the recent one that happened in Nigeria, Yule Dochi, that, after the wife has had more than 3 children, I think, he still went ahead to have another child with another woman, and then blatantly was, flaunting her on social media. Those are examples of people that, makes you wonder if the church is actually doing the right thing when it comes to some of these challenges. But for me, as I explored the subject of Christian feminism, I realized that it's a school of thought that seeks to protect the rights of women in the church. Now, some people have argued that just following the Bible is enough to protect the rights of women, and I agree. I totally agree. Yes, when the Bible is correctly interpreted, it gives the woman the rights and privileges that they deserve. However, what we have seen for quite some time in history is that the Bible is often not interpreted correctly. It's interpreted according to the dictates of the patriarchal men who are in control or in charge at one point or the other. And so that bothers me. Like, I really, you know, felt bothered about that, and then I had to start exploring through the scriptures, like trying to understand what exactly does God think of women, why do some things happen. And I'm happy to that at least announce that that study has paid off for me, because basically I've been blessed by it. I was able to remain a Christian because of the things I realized or I discovered, and I didn't step away from the faith simply because of some of the injustice that has been practiced against women in the church. So I think let me add this. Okay, there was also another book a friend of mine shared that talks about, I think it's the 15 women of the Bible, and talks about a number of women, that we know in the Bible. Some of them like Anna, some of them like Abigail, like Jael, like Priscilla. There's even something I loved about Priscilla when I was reading it, that she was like the dominant partner in a marriage, because everywhere Aquila was mentioned, Priscilla was also mentioned. So I'm just scrolling through some of those slides from the screenshots I took, and I see it that yes, there are so many women in the scriptures that lived full and vibrant lives. Not just the Proverbs 31 woman, there were so many others. Deborah was a leader, or should I say a judge in patriarchal Israel. And all of that convinces me that there is no, how do I put it, there is no uh, discrimination against women in the Bible. It is actually human beings that have, made the scriptures, or should I say, interpreted it based on their own biases. So it's almost 15 minutes, and like I always promise, these episodes will not be too long. So let me just add a preview of my own book coming out, God willing, by December. And let's see. Yes, when I was doing my acknowledgements, I actually talked about the fact that I thanked my husband, my parents, the people who had, the greatest criticisms for my Christian feminism beliefs, because they actually forced me to go and get more insights from the scriptures. And so, till I come your way again next week, my name is Onoluwa Abibola, and this is Christianity Today Live. Do enjoy a very beautiful week ahead and stay blessed. God bless you. Bye.